If you're looking at using green screens or want to get better results, you've come to the right spot. Green screens are great for if you want to change your background color to have a solid background, have an image like a pseudo office, maybe even have some video, although that was kind of cringy, or if you want to have talking points on describing the process. Let's get started. First thing you're going to need is a green screen. Now the one I'm using here, I bought off of B&H Photo for $20 or $30 if I remember right. I got some cheap tripods and an extendable pole for painting at the local hardware store. I'm also using some clamps to keep everything nice and taut to keep wrinkles out of my green screen. The next thing you're going to need are some lights. The ones I'm using are off of Amazon.com. I think I spent about $50 a piece for them. They're not real super high quality, but they do get the job done. The key thing after you light your subject, which is me, you're going to want to light up your background. You want to get your green screen as bright as you can get it to get all the blemishes out of there. If you can't get the corners and whatnot, don't worry. There are tricks that we could do in post-processing that will clean up the background and get your image or whatever to bleed through. Now, if you don't have lights and you really only have a big picture window, that generally could do the trick. The example I'm about to show is me in front of a big picture window with just the green screen in the back. So take a look. So right now I am sitting in front of a very large window with indirect light. I've got my green screen behind me, and I have got just a simple overhead light that's built into the ceiling. Next thing to focus on is what you wear. Obviously, you can't wear a green shirt with a green background. It'll just go invisible on you. I'm wearing a blue shirt right now, and it tends to work out pretty good for me. But if you're going to use a white background, you probably don't want to use a white shirt. Before you get too far, though, do a quick test on your shirt color. I actually have a nice gray shirt that I like to wear. Has a little bit of green in it, and it does bleed through the background, so I can't really ever use that shirt. All right, the video editor that we're going to be using for green screen processing is Adobe Premiere Elements. I've already got my video on Video 2, and you can see how I've got just me sitting there talking and moving around a little bit. All right, first thing I recommend you do is adjust your colors. Now, this actually on my monitor is not too bad, but I'm going to show you just generally how I would do it. I just go into the adjustments, go to Color RGB, it's my personal favorite, and tickle the red and the green and the blue until you get sort of the color balance that you are happy with. That might be a little bit crazy there, but the point isn't this, it's green screen editing. Second thing I recommend you do is get the lighting all set up the way you want it. So we're going to go to lighting, and I'm going to go to more, and I am going to crank up my white a little bit, maybe the black. Just add a little bit of shadow in there, and maybe you can tickle the exposure here to get it to do, various things. Actually, the lighting in this wasn't too bad, so I'm really showing you what the process is in case it is. If you should make a mistake here and you cut your clip all up and you got a whole bunch of hacks in here and you realize that, gee, I wish I'd have done my lighting, you can always add something called an adjustment layer. Pull the adjustment layer down on above your video, and you can go anywhere on that adjustment layer and adjust it and add something like, well, I don't know. I'm going to add something crazy here just so you can kind of see what the process here is. And that will apply to all of your video clips. You do have to be careful, though. If you accidentally apply your green screen to that clip, it will have negative effects elsewhere. I'm going to pull this adjustment layer off because I kind of don't need it. And let's go ahead and add our green screen. So if you go to your effects panel, wherever it might be in your version, go and look for something called keying. You'll find, generate, distort, keying, and you're going to find green screen key. So drag that right up on top of your video, and it's going to add a green screen for you. And now it's actually taking anything that was green and making it the next level down, whatever's on video 1. Since there's nothing there, it's going to make it black. Here's kind of the problem with hacking everything up is notice how it's not going to apply to that next clip. So that's where you should be a little careful on when you're adding effects and whatnot. Make sure you get all of that heavy lifting done before you start cutting everything up. All right, so if you want to make a white background, the easiest way to do it is go to Project Assets, add a new item, and just add a color matte. Black video is only black video, but color matte will add a whatever color that you picked. So we're going to add a color matte to this, and now I have a white background, except notice the bleed through on my shirt. Even though this is a blue shirt, there is a little bit of green in there. Could be from the green screen bouncing off. Don't know, but we'll fix that in just a minute. Of course, you know, if you want to have it go from black to red or whatever, you can add another color matte in there. And let's just do that real quick. Color matte will make a black one. If you think you can edit what you've got, and I hate it when it does that. If you think you can edit what you've got, you can't. It will edit everything. So if you want to make one black, one white, one green, you're going to need 3 different ones to make that effect. So now we're going to go from white to black to white. If you want to drag an image in there, you can of course do that. Let me go and add some images. I have no idea what these are. How about I don't know, me at the airport. Let's just go ahead and drag that in, and you can see how you have now some kind of an image and on your background. Of course, you can scale this up if you need to, which you need to here. And I'll just make this say 140, scale of 140, and now it sort of fits a whole lot better. So that's just ways that you can add the backgrounds. All right, let's address the main problem here, and that's the bleed through that we get on my my shirt. So I'm going to go over to the white one. White is actually the hardest, by the way. If you really look closely by my ear and everything else, you'll see a small outline where the green screen calculations are. They're okay, but they're not going to be perfect. Black, it's a lot less prevalent. White's the hardest to do. So what we're going to do is go to our clip, this movie clip, and you're going to have this green screen block that we just added here. We have the motion opacity that's by default, and on the applied effects, there's your green screen. You can mess with the threshold and get all kinds of wild effects in here, which I'm not saying they're any good, but you can play around with these things and maybe you'll come up with the next Andy Warhol type of design. For me, in this particular setting here, 50% threshold and around a 26% cutoff is about what we can expect to get reasonable on this this video, this setup here. Notice how we have a little bit of stuff left over here. You can eliminate that by backing your threshold down, and you might be able to sneak up on it without having the color bleed through my actual shirt. But as I'm doing that, notice my hairline where I'm getting some kind of weird effect on the actual hairline. This might be okay. You know, you might be able to live with this this setting here. Not saying it's bad, but you know, it's the choice that you're going to have to make. I'm going to go back to 50% because I really want to show you how you can edit this out without changing the rest of your video here, and that's called a garbage matte. So we're going to go back to our effects and go, of course, to your keying panel, and then find something called 4-point garbage matte, 8-point, or a 16. I am going to do a 16 just because I want to show you how you can kind of walk around a very complicated image if you need to. Drag that on top of your video, and you get this very weird choppy cutoff pattern on your video. If you click the actual 16-point garbage matte, it's going to show you these little key handles that you can drag around. And this allows you to kind of walk around and clip away the stuff that you don't need. Now, the stuff in the middle, it's going to keep, and the stuff around it, it's going to discard. So you'll see on this section over here that we've got to be real gingerly with this thing and pick these little handles, and I'm going to get it as close to my shirt as I can without spending a lifetime doing it. Then I'm going to try to grab these handles here and pull them around. Now, unfortunately, this one's way off in space and you can't see it, so you have to go and hunt and find it in the list. Key in some value, bring it back into view, and then move it to where you think you want. Now, I'm going to move these things around a little bit just because I need some from my, what is that, left side to the right side? You know, however you want to look at it. I'm going to control that a little bit. Now, as I click off of this, you see that that part is gone. In fact, if I go back to my green screen and I really change this, notice how you know, you have a lot of ways of getting rid of that unwanted effects of your the green screen calculation. All right, now you might be thinking, well, gee, that's all fixed in space. What if I move my hand around like I'm doing right about here? I take my glasses off, and you certainly don't want that in there. You can actually time all of these keys. This is a pain to do, but it's certainly very valuable. So I'm going to leave it right about here. we're going to access this little button up here, that little stopwatch, Show Hide Keyframe Controls, and it's going to bring up another little baby timeline window that you can pan and zoom just on that clip. You're going to want to put your cursor right about where I start to move, right about here, and I am going to turn on, sorry, wrong one, the 16-point garbage mat. That's the one we want to do, and I'm going to turn all of these things on. That is going to remember that position at that point in time. Now, 16 point is the most you can get, and I've got to control every single one. This is a pain to do. If you use the 8 point, it's easier, but you have less control. That's the decision you're going to have to make, is how complicated of a masking effect do you really need. Now we're going to move our cursor over here somewhere, right about here. And that's where all of these little things are going to have to go up and around my hand, wherever that my hand might end up being. And I think there's some glasses in there too, if I remember right. And maybe pull this guy all the way down to this corner right here. And of course this goes away, so you got to bring it back up. And then we bring our hand back. So at this point in time, I am going to pull all of these back. So you get the idea here on what I'm eventually going to be doing with this thing. And you get these weird handles up here. You got to be real gingerly in what you pick with this thing. And of course, I can't find this little guy right down here. I think that might be him. That's the one. Got lucky there. I don't always get lucky with this thing. All right, so that's where my hand was. Now when you pan back and forth, hopefully you'll see that garbage mat get out of the way from my hand and open up some space. Now I'm getting real sloppy here. I'm not going to so much worry about making it precise. Oops, I got that one in the wrong spot, didn't I? All right, now we're going to just play this and see what happens here. And I'm talking away. And if I get it, I'll see, I didn't get it real right here, but you get the idea. I'm being able to control that garbage mat with keyframing based on time. All right, well, that's the key things there, is the use of the actual green screen key and the garbage mat if you can't actually dial everything in. All right, I hope this helps you with green screens. A few last thoughts before you go crazy with your background. Adjust the blur quality to make sure you get a nice amount of blur without going too far overboard. Also, pick a setting that makes sense. If you're dressed in a suit and tie, being at the beach, probably not a good idea. Or if you're in some really casual clothes, do you really want to be in an office setting? So just be cognizant of what you're actually using for your background. I hope this helps. Thanks for watching.